All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for making time out of your busy day to come spend 30 minutes or so with me talking about growing grass and the agronomic best practice webinars. So I appreciate you and everything you guys do. So remember, I always touch on this each time we come through, but my goals for you in this webinar is to get something useful, whether it's one little point or it's the entire session, just one little note that you can take back to make your day a little bit better and a little bit easier for everybody. Build relationships. This really helps. So when the superintendent conference is coming up here in a few weeks that I'm going to touch on in a minute, we kind of know who each other are already when you get there, and you don't spend a full day just getting comfortable learning who people are. We already kind of have a general idea at least what they look like, and we can start rolling from there. Engagement, jump in and chat on the chat as much as you can. You can jump in and try to talk over me if you need to ask a question, whatever works best for you. And you're not alone. That's the big one I think a lot of superintendents get stuck on, is they feel like they're the only person out there and nobody understands what they're doing and nobody understands the pressures they're under. So this shows that there's more people, and I'm glad to see the number of general managers on the call today and regional managers to get a little feel for what your superintendent is dealing with on a day-to-day basis. So I appreciate that. I know it's a busy time of year. I was just going through my weather app, and I think Mountain Shadows winds today with 115 degrees, but there's still some hot temperatures out there in the country. I know it is kind of a little bit of a lull right now for most of you, but we all know the temperatures are coming back. So it's a busy time of year with aeration. I know Sioux Falls Golf just got done with some aeration, and other properties are doing the same thing out on the East Coast. Your crews are thin. Hey, talking to a couple of my superintendents in the last couple of days. There's crews of 5 guys, maybe 6 guys, but still expecting to have tournament-ready conditions every single day. And then the hot temperatures we already touched on. So I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. The first thing I really want to touch on with everybody is a superintendent conference. An RSVP went out about a week ago to all the superintendents and the regional managers. We've had a good turnout. I believe 20 people have RSVP'd for the conference so far. I'd love to get that up a little bit higher. It is October 16th to the 18th. Monday's a travel day. Tuesday's conference and a lot of information. Wednesday is kind of a half day of education, then a half day of a golf course tour with golf clubs, which I'll touch on here in just a minute. But it'll be at the corporate office in Lincoln, Nebraska. Once you fill out your RSVP, you'll get contact from a company called Mellon to help you with your flight bookings. Liz Ousdell will help with the hotel and car rentals if needed. So all you need to worry about is getting RSVP'd, and then somebody will contact you about your flight. There are some flights into Lincoln, but typically the easiest place to get to and cheapest place is Omaha. If you're one of the lucky few that can get into Lincoln, congratulations. It's a lot easier to get there. So speakers this year include Syngenta. They're our #1 sponsor for this event. Those of you that have been to our conference in the past know that Syngenta does a lot for us, and they're going to give some great talks about different issues that superintendents are facing out there this year and coming into the future. I've also confirmed that the GCSAA will be there. They're going to give a couple different presentations to us about some different hot topics going on across the country, and some of their BMP best practice manuals and how we put those to use at each one of our facilities. And a few others. I still have a few other key speakers and presenters I'm working on. I should hear by the end of the week on those, but I'm excited to get everybody together so we can have a great time there in beautiful Lincoln, Nebraska. So again, education, networking, and a course tour. We're going to do a course tour of one of our properties in Omaha. So bring your clubs with you if you like to play golf. That'll be one of the RSVPs. I know quite a few of you have already RSVP'd, and that's typically the highlight of the conference, really, is we can all kind of come together and enjoy a few hours out, laughing at each other, hitting some golf balls around the golf course. So looking forward to seeing everybody there. An email will come out right after this, just as a reminder to get RSVP'd and get set for that conference. There we go. That was on my note next. So if you can RSVP for that by the end of the week, that would be great. I know we've been asked by our travel booking company, Mellon, to try to get a lot of our RSVPs and bookings done before September 1st, because apparently airline flights are going up here towards the fourth quarter of the year. So please try to get that RSVP in if you haven't, and I'd really appreciate it. All right. So full disclosure, I did have another speaker set up today and they had to back out, but I did reschedule them for next month. So I did scramble for a couple of minutes on what I was going to talk to you guys about. I did not want to, excuse me, I did not want to cancel the webinar because I think it's important we all get together on a monthly consistent basis. But when touring the country, I've been to probably 13, 14 of our golf courses in the last 4 or 5 weeks. And a big thing that's come up at all the properties is relationship building and trying to talk to different people around the golf course and get them to understand what you are doing out on the golf course every day. And so I'll open this up. Anybody want to chime in there real fast? You can unmute or hit the chat. What's the most important relationship out on the golf course, according to you?
Communication with your superintendent.
All right, thanks, Mike. Between what, the general manager and the superintendent, right? Is that what you're pushing at?
Yep.
Okay. I would 100% wholeheartedly agree. I think that the general manager and the superintendent are the biggest pieces of the operation and the biggest focus of what's going on. I understand every club has multiple moving parts with food and beverage and marketing and membership and event coordinators and banquets, head pros. I understand everybody has those in some form or fashion. But that relationship with the GM and the superintendent, I believe, is most important. And I'm glad Mike chimed in because I taught him well when he was out at the Broadland. So I appreciate that. All right. So
he always takes all the credit.
The next big question I ask superintendents is it a good relationship between you and your general manager? I understand a few of you report maybe more to your head pro or director of golf, but is it a good relationship? And I've seen over the last 3 or 4 years that I think these relationships are getting better, but we still run into some of those courses where the GM and super just can't see eye to eye. And a big thing I see, the reason that comes up is that a lot of times you guys aren't talking, you aren't communicating. It's a quick little, maybe stop into the office and say, hey, what pin placement number 2? You guys sent tee times off 20 minutes early today. Come on, I got to get my work done. We'll see you later, right? And out the door the superintendent goes. Or the GM calls and says, oh, by the way, I know you said we didn't have anything going on this weekend, but we have a 144 player shotgun tomorrow morning at 7:30. I hope that's okay. And typically that, hopefully that doesn't come on a Friday afternoon, but I've seen it. It comes that way sometimes. So opening up that channel of communication and doing the best you can to communicate with the general manager is very important. My next question on here is, what are you doing to build that relationship? Are you stopping and sitting down each week with that GM on a one-on-one basis where you guys have some time? Maybe it's over lunch. Maybe it's after your department head meeting. Maybe it's a tour of the golf course. I don't know, maybe the GM's coming down to the maintenance facility and meeting with the staff and then sitting in your office and talking to you about what's going on each day. But it's a constant work. You've always got to work on it. I've been in the general manager seat. I think I've had 4 superintendents underneath me, all really, really good superintendents, all really good at what they did, but all 4 of them had a completely different way of communicating. And I, as a general manager in that seat, I had to figure out what was my best way to communicate with them. But you also, as a superintendent, have to work on making that, figuring out the best way to communicate with the general manager. They're busy. right? You're busy, they're busy, but some of them, maybe their best way is a text message. Maybe the best way to communicate with them is through an email. Maybe you call them when you're cooking dinner at night. Maybe you call them at 4:30 in the morning when you're driving into the golf course. Whatever that is, whatever you guys set up between each other, you've got to figure out a way to best communicate with them and build that relationship and make it strong. Big thing with me is I hope this is with a lot of you guys too, is that my relationship with my superintendent, and when I was a superintendent, my relationship with my general manager was really strong because we were kind of confidants. We could vent with each other, right? We could talk about other things going on around the golf course. We could bounce ideas off of each other. You could get that 30,000-foot view of what's going on around the facility and a different set of eyes. There's a great chat point in there too by Mark Hassels. Try to connect with them in other ways other than golf too, right? Is it family? Is it school? Is it favorite restaurants, movies, Netflix? When I'm touring around my superintendents, it seems a lot of times that I'm talking more about other things than golf for 90% of the tour. And we'll point out something, what's going on over there, get a quick update, and then it's right back to talking about their kids or talking about their wife and how things are going. But you got to constantly be feeding this relationship. So I have a homework assignment for each one of you, and general managers, I want you to keep your superintendent honest on this, that this is their homework assignment to come reach out to you. It's not your assignment to go hunt them down. But I would love, with this homework assignment, some sort of communication to me, whether it's a text or a phone call or an email, just a quick little note that, hey, I did the homework assignment and I really appreciate it. So that's all we're really looking for here. So set up a meeting with your GM or your head pro. Just a one-on-one meeting, just the two of you. However, maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour. Ask them to go to lunch. Take them away from the golf course. Get them out. Start talking with them. Even if you do this on a daily basis and you go up and sit in your GM's office, I still want you to carve out a day and say, hey, I need to meet with you about something. Chris gave me a homework assignment and I want to get it done. Okay. During the meeting, ask this one question, right? In my career, I think this is probably the number one most important question that makes a general manager think and will really open up your eyes to your general manager. But what's the one thing I can do to make your job easier? I think if you ask that question and make them give you a true answer, don't just let them say, oh, whatever, you're doing everything just fine. I ask them, what's the one thing I can do to make your job easier? And I'd love to get a reply back of what that is, what they told you. It's going to open up a lot of things. It's going to open up a lot of communication. And I think it's a good conversation starter to see where that conversation goes and where you guys can really build on each other's relationship. Hopefully that general manager takes the initiative and asks that exact same question back to you. And this is a really good conversation starter. There's quite a few new general managers out on the golf course or out in the portfolio, and quite a few new superintendents too. I believe we have 7 new superintendents in the portfolio this year, and a lot of them hit the ground running. They started late spring, early summer, and they've just been go, 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 go. So this would be a great time for you to sit down and really build that relationship with your general manager. But other than that, I don't know if I can go back here. There we go. So any questions on that? Anybody think they're going to have difficulty doing that? Any feedback from anybody? All right, good. Well, I'm interested and I'm excited to see what some answers are and what some feedback is. One more little side note with all these pictures I throw in here. I'm trying to get pictures of all of our properties in there when I'm doing site visits or our regionals are doing site visits, just to show off some of the stuff you guys are doing at your properties and get some beauty pictures. But had the joy of getting out to Dodge a couple weeks ago. It was a great tour out there. So a quick celebration here is, I wanted to do this last month, but we ran out of time. So welcome to the team, Whispering Creek. got a chance to get out there and meet Connor and tour his golf course back when I was doing my Midwest tour. Cool little golf course. I don't know if a lot of you have seen these bunkers here, but they've got sod wall bunkers on probably half of their holes out there at Whispering Creek. Cool thing with these sod wall bunkers is it's all AstroTurf. It's probably about an 8 to 12-inch strip, and they just stack them right on top of each other and get up to the height that they need to get to. Gives it a really cool, kind of Scottish style view, and they really do stand out from anywhere on the golf hole. Looks like they're trying to do a lot more of their bunkers that way here in the coming years, but we're excited to have them on in the team, and excited to have Connor on our team as well. He's currently looking for an assistant superintendent, like most of you or some of you are. So if you have anybody interested, going to spend some time in Sioux City, Iowa, I know Connor would love to hear from you and get somebody pushed out that direction. All right. Any questions? Anything on that conversation that came up that? All right. So I know this one would be brief. I told you it'd be quick and easy. Kept you at 20 minutes. All right. Nice and simple. Get you guys back out there hand watering. Get you guys back out there dragging hose and mowing fairways. We will have.
Chris?
Yeah.
This is Jake. Couple quick questions before you get off. I was curious. We're getting close to budget season. Could anybody on the call or you talk about what you're seeing in fertilizer and chemical pricing and availability for next year? Also, any lead times and problems with equipment maybe coming down the road? So,
yep. Yeah. So I'll touch on the first one. Fertilizer and chemicals. Everything that I've heard is that it's leveling out. It's a commodity that changes every 30 days. But right now it seems to be leveling pretty consistent to where it was this year. I've got a couple calls into the bigger fertilizer reps that I'm going to talk to before the superintendent conference to get a better feel for what they think is going on in the coming year. And for the equipment side, that's the main reason I'm having Toro on next month. I wanted them on this month, but they'll be on next month to talk about what they're seeing on supply chains for equipment. And what I've seen so far is, I don't know if Josh Buds is on this call, but hopefully he plugs his ears on this. I've heard that equipment is loosening up, that certain pieces are becoming more available. The wait time window is still maybe 12 months, but we're not hearing the 24-month, 30-month issues we were having a year or two ago. I'm also got a call this afternoon with Bryce to discuss some fleet management stuff. I know that Bryce has some equipment out there on fleet management, and he's got different items rolling in as well. But I would expect, hopefully by a year from now, we should be pretty much back to normal on the equipment side, that you order a piece and you've got a few months to wait for it, but it comes back in. And then fertilizer, like I said, I'll update everybody at the superintendent conference, but right now I would just budget the numbers you put in there for the 2023 operating year. And before 90% of our budgets are due by the end of the year, we'll have a better idea on that. Thanks, Jake. Appreciate it.
awesome. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. So again, webinar, that one will be longer. I know Toro, our presenter on there, will love to talk, love to meet each one of you guys and discuss what's going on in the equipment window. Reminders coming up here on the end of the month. You've got until Thursday at midnight to turn your safety skills in. Also go into Paylocity and update your termination levels for all your employees, so that if they're gone, then hopefully come September that they're off of your safety skills, and that just improves your number. If you need help on the safety skills side, reach out to Matt Whalen at Greeley Country Club. He seems to have 100% every single month. So he's a good resource for that one. Monthly inventories, those are also due coming up here soon. It's also a good time to take a check at your inventory and see, hey, what do I need to get rid of by the end of the year? What do we have going in there? And also order up a couple items that you need to get the season finished off correctly. If you can, get your assistant in there, get a crew foreman in there to help you do your inventories so that they can keep an eye on it. And hopefully if you do that every month by the 1st of 2024, you don't have to do your inventory anymore. Your assistant or your mechanic or your crew foreman can take care of that for you. Take one thing off your plate. Other than that, thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. What do we come in at? 22 minutes. Man, I talk way too fast. But I appreciate it, everybody. I really do. And we'll talk again here in 4 weeks.
Thanks, Chris. Look forward to seeing all of you in Lincoln here in October.
Yep. Get yourself RSVP'd. A reminder email is going to be out there in about 15 minutes to everybody, just to get all RSVP'd and set for that. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. Thanks, Mark. Oh, Mark just dove off. That's all right.